Via way of Skype is Dewa Mavinga, who's the Director, Human Rights Watch Southern Africa region, is joining me all the way from Johannesburg, South Africa. Dewa, good evening. Welcome to the program. Now, with that development in Zimbabwe, it seems there's a lot at stake here with regards to Zimbabwe's politics. What are you reading in this? Let me begin from there.
Absolutely. The stakes are high in the sense that this will be the first election in 38 years without Mugabe, and President Mnangagwa has promised that it will be free and fair, but because of the involvement of the military in the politics of Zimbabwe, particularly since the military coup of November last year, there are serious fears that perhaps there are groups within who may want to scuttle efforts to have free and fair elections. And this is why it is important that President Mnangagwa has swiftly reassured the nation that he continues to call for peace and that there will be no state of emergency, and we continue to move towards the July 30 election.
Dewa, I know you're in South Africa, but I'm sure you have contacts in Zimbabwe. Can you perhaps tell us how the atmosphere is like in Zimbabwe at the moment, and perhaps are there any kind of tension ahead of the July 30th election?
There is clearly tension and uncertainty, especially amongst the 23 presidential candidates contending for the post of head of state. And there have been speculation as to whether now the government will provide security to all contesting candidates or not. But the biggest question is what could have been behind, who are the people behind this attack and explosion, and what are the motives, and whether or not this could trigger deeper tension and wider violence before elections.
Dewa, let's briefly talk about the personalities of these two leaders in question, that is Mnangagwa and the former President Robert Mugabe. Apparently, it's reported that Mugabe normally has a total of 15 vehicles full with sirens, what came to be known as Bob and the Whalers. Apparently, these are very common phrase in Zimbabwe. On the other hand, Mnangagwa is normally escorted by just 5 vehicles. Sometimes he drives himself. Do you think the attackers maybe took advantage of this window and did whatever they did?
It is a possibility. But what we also need to look at is that there have been tensions within ZANU-PF, the new or the reconfigured ZANU-PF since the military takeover in November last year. So these tensions might be fueling what is happening now. And by his own admission, Mnangagwa has said in the last 4 years, there have been 5 attempts on his life. So it's really unclear whether these are outside forces or people very close to him within the ZANU-PF establishment.
Thank you very much, Dewa, for your input. Dewa Mavinga is the Director, Human Rights Watch Southern Africa region, joining me via way of Skype from Johannesburg, South Africa.